Hello and welcome to Drive-In Double Feature Podcast. I'm Nathan.
I'm Ryan.
And this is the podcast where we talk about 2 movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before we get into today's episode, I want to talk to you about our Patreon. If you head over to patreon.com/Drive-In Double Feature Podcast, you get fun games, fun conversations, all for $5 a month. But no main show content is locked behind that Patreon. But let's get into today's movie. We are talking about Spiral from the Book of Saw from 2021, directed by Darren Lynn Bousman, who is a returning director of these movies. He left for a little bit, I believe. Let me make sure my facts are correct. Yeah, he directed Saw 2, 3, and 4, and then he left the franchise for a little bit, and then he came back for this one many years later. And this one is, like it says, from the Book of Saw, not really following any Saw plot line. There are references, and of course, it's a Jigsaw copycat killer, but you actually don't need to know anything about Saw to watch this one. It's not that same through line plot. It's doing its own thing, which is very promising. And also, it starred Chris Rock, which I know a lot of people from the outset, when they heard that Chris Rock was starring in a Saw movie, were kind of like, no, that's not going to work. That's stupid. But I was kind of hopeful the first time I saw this in the theater. I was like, I always like seeing a comedian take on a dramatic role, or like any interesting role. So I was kind of hopeful for it. And it sounded like last time you talked about this that you were kind of interested in that idea too.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think Chris Rock in a Saw movie, sign me up. It's got to be somewhat pretty interesting, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
I Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm trying to put myself in the time period of when this movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they like kind of hide the fact that this was a Saw movie at first? Like, or at least when it was announced?
I don't know. I don't remember. Not that I remember. But you saying that now, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Because I feel like in the teasers or whatever, or maybe like even in the poster, like it was just called Spiral, and people are like, "Oh, like what's this about?" type of thing. And then it was
Mhm.
eventually revealed that it was a Saw movie.
I think you're right. I think you're right. But I think the rumors had always been there that this was a Saw movie, especially for the people that were tied to it. And pretty much
Mhm.
like Chris Rock funded a lot of this movie. He was an executive producer. I guess he's a huge fan of the Saw movies, and he's a huge reason why this even got picked up. And he actually got the original director, James Wan. He got Lee Winnell in there as well. He got a few people from the Saw franchise to return. So it was like a big rallying call back to Saw. Because, I mean, we had Jigsaw in 2017, but that one, though it made money, it just did not critically do well. And I don't think fans were really enjoyed it. So it was kind of like, okay, we got something fresh. Let's take a fresh idea, bring it to Saw. And we got some big money, big people behind it. So that's exciting. And this one did cost $20 million, which I believe makes it the most expensive Saw movie. And that's probably because of two people. Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson is in this movie. So, like, for the first time in forever, we have like real actors in a Saw movie. But here's the problem. It's still bad acting. I don't know if it's just Saw or what, but my God, no, it's like you give them this material and they cannot act. If you're not Tobin Bell, you're not acting well. If there's one thing about this movie, is Chris Rock, and I hate to say it, is horrible. Just absolutely awful in this movie.
Yeah. Chris Rock is featured very prominently. This is a Chris Rock vehicle,
It's his movie.
and and I thought he was awful in this movie. I didn't think he was good at all. Like I just thought I couldn't unsee him being like a comedic actor, but even when he was trying to be serious, I wasn't buying it at all. And the
Mhm.
line delivery was not good in my opinion. I just didn't feel like there was all that much range to his character.
No, there were scenes where he was trying to be intense, and he's doing that thing where to look intense, he just makes his eyes really wide, and that's like it. That's how he looks intense. And they try to bring back the Saw thing where like he's like screaming in the car at one point, and the editing's really fast, and it's very unconvincing. And I think that's like that's a big thing that kind of hurts this movie, is that our lead is as bad as he is. Just not working. But anyway, this movie open I should get into it. This movie opens up with a guy running into a cop on the street, and the cop's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And he steals the purse. They go in the sewer together, and this is the setup to our first trap. And the spiral is definitely for it has a low amount of traps, but the traps it has are crazy brutal. This is the most brutal Saw. Like, okay, Saw traps to me are kind of fun. Like, they can be like gross or whatever, but like the idea is fun. They usually have some puzzle element. This movie is just like brutality, torture, hard to
It
watch.
the there is no like puzzles in these movies. It's just
No.
kind of like for this one, for instance, this guy has his tongue in a vice and he's standing on a stool
Uh-huh.
and he's just like they- they're like, oh, jump off this stool, rip out your tongue, then you can live because then you won't
Yep.
be able to talk anymore. And
Yeah.
that's it.
That's it. There's no like fun game to it. No, like I'm teaching you a life lesson. But I think that's the idea, is that this is the person ripping off a Saw, but not necessarily a follower of Jigsaw. Like in the same way. Not like it's less about wanting people to live their life. Like, oh, let me give you life. Let me prove to you that life is worth living. This is more just revenge. That's all it is. It's just straight a revenge story. But of course, we don't know what's happening yet. I love the voice of the little new Jigsaw puppet, who's like a pig in a cop uniform. And like,
Mm-mm.
hello, detective. It's like this silly computer
It sounds like a
voice.
text that yeah,
Yeah.
it's a text to speech voice, which is hello, detective. You are now entered into this trap.
Yeah, which I mean, like, is fine. It actually makes sense, but it makes it feel like kind of
It
a
does.
different. It makes it feel like a different type of movie. But
Uh,
but yeah, eventually the cop does get hit by the train, and we see the body later, and it's just like a mangled mess of parts with this tongue and this grip, and it's just it's gross. It's gross to look at. And this is where we get introduced to Chris Rock's character. And it's like he wants a serious role, but he just can't get away from the comedian bit, because he has a
mm.
whole speech about how Forrest Gump was a pimp and like how Jenny was a horrible person. And it's just like, I've heard this before, and I don't need, like, it just feels wrong in this movie.
Yeah, and I just on a side note, I still don't like the argument that Jenny is like this terrible person, and it's just
Mhm.
because I from that movie standpoint, I don't see. I mean, I just don't see her being a terrible person. She's very troubled, but it's not like she did these things terribly. But
No, and I mean, I'll follow up with that, because I agree with you. Jenny's not like, she's just a troubled person, like you said. She has a lot of her own issues, and the way Chris Rock frames it is like, oh, Forrest was so nice to her and she just didn't want to be with him because of that. And it's like, no, she didn't have to be with Forrest Gump. Like, that was
well,
never never something she
uh,
had to do.
yeah, well, okay, I don't want to get sidetracked because
You're-
I could talk for a while about this one.
Mhm.
But no, I anyway, my whole point is that it's a really overdone argument, like you had said
Yeah.
before. It's something I've heard 100 times already, and I'm just kind of rolling my eyes. It's just okay. I've heard this a million times. Jaren's a terrible person. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And I just he has to. It's like they expect him to do something funny or say something funny in this movie, and it's
Mhm.
like, well, yeah, he's got to.
It's like, oh, it's Chris Rock. He has to joke, because that's not the only time. He has other bits he jokes about, like how, like, he's like, oh, Pilates doesn't even exist. It's just an excuse for women that cheat on their man. Because I guess he's a huge woman hater in this movie.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it's just a lot. So what we have here is a cop that is very troubled. He doesn't like women, but then on the flip side, we're supposed to really like him because he's not or he is a rat. So he saw a cop shoot somebody in cold blood, and he basically told on stand what happened instead of lying for the cop. So now all the cops hate him, but he believes in truth and justice. So there's like a mix of
But
like
I was gonna say, and Jigsaw goes after all the dirty cops in this movie.
yes, yes. Well, okay. I gotta just bring up this line that I hate with a passion.
I know exactly what you're gonna say.
Because, like, okay, so I actually still don't hate this movie. I think there's something about it that I don't hate, and I know a lot of people hate this one. But what really, like, one line ruins this movie so hard for me, and it's crazy to say this because it's literally just one line, but it just goes to show you how nobody cared. Whenever Chris Rock says, John Kramer never targeted cops. And I was like, what are you talking about? Are you insane? Like, whoever wrote this movie obviously wasn't thinking, because Saw 2 is literally all about a cop. So it's just
Right. It's like
insane.
Donnie Wahlberg and his son, claiming Donnie Wahlberg was like this dirty cop that put away all these other victims, and they're all
Mm-hmm.
after this one guy. I heard that, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
And
And
and then the Jigsaw was a cop at one point. He was Hoffman, so
mm-hmm.
it just doesn't make any. The scene with the cops break into Jigsaw's hideout, and Jigsaw has all these traps that kill cops.
Yeah, he kills cop. If you think about Saw 3D, Hoffman literally shoots a bunch of cops in that movie. Just what a line, and just shows you that, like, there's so much disconnect between like that. And I think I get what maybe they were getting at, that they were like, oh, Jigsaw didn't target cops just because they were cops. There was more to it, where this felt like more like they were targeting specifically cops. But he should have said that. That line just comes out really weird. But yeah,
Yeah,
Chris. Yeah,
I think it's a really stupid line, and I know what you mean. It kind of ruined a lot of the movie for me too.
really.
I was just like, that's so stupid.
hmm
But on the whole, I do agree with you. This is not the worst Saw movie that I've
No,
seen. Um, I don't even hate it per se. It's just not very good. And I I think a lot of that has to do with like there's such a far disconnect from like the rest of the series.
hmm
I mean, besides a couple of traps in here, there's really not much tying it to the series at all.
no.
It's just the fact that the killer does these traps and they refer to them as Jigsaw.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they refer to him as Jigsaw. They talk about the spiral that's on like Jigsaw's stuff. And that's about it. They try their hardest to get some in there. Like, at one point there's a picture of Abby from Saw 2 on the wall. Um and then I think they show a picture of Tobin Bell at one point. Just like really small pieces. But yeah, that's the problem. It is from the book of Saw, but it's so far gone from the series, has zero connection, zero characters, that it just feels like, because this is something we've talked about a million times, something I've talked about, is that I like Saw for its convoluted story. I like all the connections. That's what makes a Saw movie, is like connecting everything, this mess of a story. And this just kind of exists on its own, which I guess isn't a bad thing, but it could have just been its own thing. I don't know. But yeah,
It
anyway.
doesn't really other than the killer doing traps and stuff, that they called it something else. I don't know if I mean I probably would have said like, oh, this is a Saw ripoff, but I
But no.
wouldn't have it wouldn't have been like, it wouldn't have had this weight to the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. This is a ripoff of The Collector. Remember that one?
I thought The Collector was pretty decent.
I never watched those movies. I just know that, like, they kind of go in the same circle. But yeah, so this is more of a cop movie. We're taking more of a cop. I mean, which Saw movies are cop movies, which is even more insane that he says that line. But he gets forced on with this a new young detective, and he has to be partners with on this Jigsaw case. And what
Um,
go ahead.
can I just say now, like, How obvious was
Oh,
this guy?
so easy. It was so
Oh,
easy to tell because like I remember being in the theater and knowing immediately like, oh yeah, this is this is the bad guy. Because he says like odd things that are gonna pop up later and they do. Like he's like, I've been waiting for this since I was 12 years old. And it's like, oh, that's a really weird thing to say, that specific
I,
age.
I've been looking up to you for a long time. Like, your
I'm
dad
here
was a
because of your
hero.
father. Yeah. So like it was really obvious. And the fact that this guy, I don't know the actor's name, but he's in stuff. He's an actual recognizable person.
Max Minghalia, because
Max Minghella.
he's Anthony Minghalia's son, the guy that directed The English Patient.
Gotcha. I didn't know that. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they pair up for this movie, and kind of just cops are dying all around them, and it's in back and forth of them trying to find the Jigsaw killer while Chris Rock is the head of the case, but all the other cops hate him. And we kind of learn about the abuse of that Chris Rock takes from the rest of the police at the station, all because he was a rat. Like he called for backup at one point and got shot in the back, because somebody didn't, the closest person didn't show up.
Yeah, they're like, y'all took 15 minutes to get here or what?
After he called like 8 times, yeah, because Samuel Jackson, his dad, was what is the police chief, and he gets really upset and starts beating up another cop for that. Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson's in this movie for a very minimal amount of time. He shows up to be a father to Chris Rock, but at the end of the day, he's in the final trap of the movie, so he's kind of just out of the movie for a while.
He's probably the best actor in this movie.
Yeah, he's Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, like,
But
he brings something.
it's not like he's any different from any other Samuel L. Jackson. He plays the
No.
Samuel L. Jackson role well. He's not any different, and uh, he does. He has a very strained relationship with his son,
Hmm.
and I like the one line where Chris Rock's like, "We haven't even had a meal together in over a year." Or
Hmm.
whatever, and Samuel L. Jackson's like, "You want to go get some Chinese food?"
You should have said something.
Yeah.
I think even Chris Rock is like, yeah. Well, yesterday I walked outside and you nodded me like I was the only other black person at the mall, which is a funny line, but it's like
Mhm.
it just didn't feel right. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so Samuel Jackson, he's gone from the movie. We do get like another trap with a cop who has his fingers in like a, well, God,
Like
what
a
do you even
Chinese,
call
like
it?
it
Yeah.
would be like it'd be like a metal, like a mesh, wire mesh, Chinese finger trap, kinda,
Yeah.
I would say,
Yeah. And
where
he,
he has to pull his fingers out, but the only way that he can pull the fingers out is if their fingers get ripped off.
yeah, exactly. And this one was a tough watch. It was very because it shows the fingers like getting pulled off almost one by one, and he has to like bite down his teeth in order for it to work. And of course, he doesn't make it out. No, nobody makes it out of a trap in this movie. Not a single person.
No.
There's a really lame one with the head of the police, the captain, where she is laying on a bed, has like candle wax poured on her face, and then it's like she's gonna suffocate. And but this one was horrible because to get out, she has to like sever her like spine, so she'll never walk again. I think even like the video says, "You won't be walking away from this trap," which is like a really stupid joke. I don't know. Did Jigsaw ever joke like that?
Probably did. He had
Yeah,
to
I'm
have. It
sure.
just,
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, you gotta lose a pound of flesh if you wanna
That's true.
get out of there or whatever."
Yeah, I like to
Yeah.
think John Kramer was a comedian, kind of. It was all a
Yeah.
joke.
Well, he's like Waka Waka.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
I, yeah. Apparently I was reading. So I mean, this movie actually was a lot more gruesome than what we saw,
really,
and that they had to submit this movie 11 times to the MPAA because each time they kept getting an NC-17 rating
which they weren't
for vi
accepting.
hyper violence, so they had to keep recutting it, and they even said like the finger trap scene that was even a more brutal than what it was in the final cut.
Yeah, I mean, it was and it's brutal in its final cut. That's actually kind of crazy. Um, just to think about, which is crazy for 2021. I feel like like the amount of violence you could get away with in the 2020s, that the fact that this got an NC-17 and its multiple cuts is actually really surprising. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. So yeah, and then that's about it for traps, except for the very final set. But most of the movie is just Chris Rock almost just running around trying to solve this case, but he never makes any good leads. He's just being led around all the wrong ways, like showing up to a hobby shop him and his dad showed up to one time, trying to find his dad, and he ends up going to like a church where the guy he screwed over in the courtroom was at. So we kind of get introduced to like a bunch of people, but it definitely doesn't feel like it goes anywhere. I don't know if you felt like that.
No, I felt the movie was kind of aimless a little bit.
Hmm.
I especially when they're doing the backstory of when Chris Rock
Mm.
turned into one. I thought that went on. That one kind of felt like padding to the movie a little bit when it
It
was showing
did.
like, these flashbacks, and I I just wasn't really like a fan of a lot of it because I don't know. I mean, for me, I feel like this movie was kind of like a vanity project for Chris Rock more than
I agree.
anything.
No, I agree.
And because it Chris Rock, he basically went to Twisted Picture, like the producers, and just like, I want to be in a Saw movie. I want to be the main character. And he, became a producer. He wrote some of the movie too, I believe. Like he has a writing credit, and
Yep.
I and he's the lead actor and he wanted to do a dramatic role. He thought this was gonna be like some kind of like tour de force thing, and he
Hmm.
was gonna get all this acclaim, but in the end, I think he kind of just the execution was not great,
No,
and I I think it kind of just shows that Chris Rock should just kind of stick to comedy.
it's true, which I hate to say because it seems like you said it's a vanity project and he probably wanted to branch out. This is an attempt for him, for maybe people to take him a little more seriously as an actor. But
Mhm.
watching this, I just maybe it wasn't the right director. I wouldn't say Danny Lynn Bousman ever, like, those performances in the Saw movies, they're not like groundbreaking performances. Maybe behind a different director we could get something good out of Chris Rock, but obviously he wasn't getting the right notes here because it's just rough. Or maybe because he funded it so much they were kind of scared and just like, yeah, just do your thing, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the ending is just it's very unconvincing. The whole reveal of his partner being Jigsaw, and then it's like, do you want to do you want to join me? We can work together on killing all these bad cops. And
Oh, you forgot about the trap where it shoots glass at that one guy.
yeah, out of the guy that he kind of screwed over the first time, where like it's the first time these games ever have like a clue because he's like, oh, you could walk away and walk, you could leave and throw away the key. And then it's like, oh, the trash can has a key in it. It's like the first time anything like that's done in this movie.
Oh.
But yeah, what it is like bottles fall down and then the glass shards kill the dude, or it try to kill the dude, but it's weird because it's another trap, kind of like the knife one from Jigsaw, where it's like, how do you know how many bottles is going to kill somebody? Because one bottle hit in the right place could kill someone, and like they seem to have just the right amount for them to die.
Yeah, well, I guess it's kind of like he was just getting stabbed a bunch by a glass because I mean, even Chris Rock was like trying to protect him, and Chris
Hmm.
Rock has like pieces of glass in his face,
Yeah, and he
and
like
like,
rips it out.
and yeah,
Yeah. But no, then the final trap is Samuel Jackson is in like a puppet suit, and he has to like he basically has to gain his trust by letting his dad die, because I guess that's like the like, oh, if you want to truly be a part of the cause, your dad's got to die. But
He's basically saying you either let me go away and you can have your dad free, or you can kill me and your dad dies.
yeah, and of course that leads to a fight. Chris Rock beats the crap out of Jigsaw, which leaves Samuel L. Jackson for the SWAT team to come in the puppet suit lifts up a gun at the SWAT team, and that makes the whole SWAT team shoot his dad, which I actually think is a really, really lame ending to the movie.
Well, yeah, I didn't like the ending either because one, Jigsaw was just kind of like, he's like, "You idiot, you chose wrong. You're supposed to let your dad die." Eh,
Yeah.
eh, eh. It's like he was just supposed to be just like okay with that. And he's just like, "You chose poorly, man. You should have let me leave, and we could have." Because they wanted to form that Jigsaw wanted them to form a partnership. That was like the whole thing. It was just
Yeah.
like, we can become partners. We can go after all the dirty cops in the city. And it'll be totally great.
Mhm.
But yeah, Samuel L. Jackson ends up getting shot, and then uh the Jigsaw just ends up just getting away, just going down the elevator like, "See ya," and then just
And the SWAT team doesn't see this, by the way.
oh well, Chris Rock's like, "Guys, look over there,
Yeah,
look,"
and he goes no, yeah, and like the SWAT team is just like, oh, what is this guy talking about?
and they just acted like this guy going down the elevator was invisible.
Yeah, and then the movie just ends because I don't think they knew how to like explain how he got away or anything. So they're like, okay, just end it
Wow.
here. Yeah, now that I talk about it, I don't know. Like I said, I don't think it's the worst Saw movie, like some people say. I think there's some bits I like. The traps are brutal and everything, but it's not good. Chris Rock just kind of brings this movie down a whole lot, and it's just a bit aimless. I think Spiral is just a weak entry.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's as bad as 7 or 8. I'll give it that.
Hmm.
But I don't it's still kind of like the black sheep of the entire
Hmm.
franchise so far. Because I mean, as bad as the other two were, they at least felt like Saw movies. This
Oh
one
yeah,
doesn't.
yeah. No, it's barely a Saw movie. But yeah. So I'm gonna say that's a not recommended from both of us.
I believe so, yes.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for this one. But Ryan, remind us, what are we covering on Thursday?
Well, Nathan, I've avoided it for a while, but if we're going to talk about 1998's Godzilla, it's not streaming anywhere. See, that's how bad it is. Nobody, no streaming service wants this movie, Nathan.
I know,
They
I'm
have to
surprised.
they they have to milk every dollar they can because they're still just in financial ruin to this movie.
And financial ruin. Oh man.
Roland
Yeah.
Emmerich still is still trying to get his money back.
Well, again, and unfortunately I had to pay him.
Hmm. But yes, you'll have to pay to watch that if you want to watch it with us.
But well, sorry. Well, I'm excited to watch that one. But if you want to check us out on Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/drive and double feature podcast. You can also email us over at drive and double feature podcast @gmail.com. But until next time.
Until next time.